All right, tip number 1 is you're going to indoctrinate the people who sign up for your list immediately with the first email and especially your thank you page. You have to remember that when people sign up for your list, a lot of things can happen to the opt-in email, to that very first email that makes it to them. It could be, especially if they're using a Gmail, it could be put in their promotions tab, or it could be filtered to spam or trash. The Mac mail can take it and put it in the junk folder. You don't know exactly what's going to happen on the other end, what internet service provider they're using, and how their filters are set up. So the first thing that you should do when anyone signs up for your email list is send them on a redirect to a thank you page that gives them instructions on how to find that email.
You can even do this with a video, and this is what a lot of people are going to now, and we are actually in the process of switching our sites over to a video thank you page.
So basically when you go to the thank you page, there's a video there and it just says, hey, this is Shane and Jocelyn, or whatever your brand is, and don't say, hey, you're Shane and Jocelyn, because that would just be strange, because that's probably not who you are. But like, it would say, hey, I'm so-and-so, this is what my brand's about, and here's what you need to do next. And tell them you need to go and find this email. We just sent you an opt-in confirmation. It might have got put in your spam or junk folder, so make sure you look there. Do a search for Shane and Jocelyn, whatever.
And actually show this on your computer screen.
Give them instructions on like how to do that so that they can find those emails. They can go in and they can make sure they opt in, and what's it called? The confirmation. Yeah. They can confirm that they're on your email list. That's the very first step you should do. And you should also have these instructions printed out in text under the video, because somebody might be at work and they can't watch the video or whatever at that time. So make sure that you've got these instructions in the video and in the text. But this is so important because it makes sure that they find those first emails that you send them. If time someone opts in, if half the people are going into spam or junk and they never can find the confirmation, or they can never find that first email, then they're never going to get any of the rest of your emails as well. So make sure that when people sign up for your list, you're sending them on a redirect to a thank you page. Don't rely on the first email to indoctrinate people. Send them to a place on your website where you have detailed instructions on how to find that first email, confirm and get on your email list, and then tell them how to whitelist or make sure that future emails, will come to you. Like in Gmail, you can say, you could star it to make sure that all of these emails make it to your inbox.
You can drag it to the inbox in Gmail.
Right. You can do all kinds of different things to make sure that you're going to get the future emails from us. That is really important. It's a step that a lot of people forget. I've never even seen that in a course, and I don't know why people don't talk about it more. But that first redirect should give them direct instructions on how to get the first email to make sure they get all of the rest of your emails.
All right, so let's move on to our second tip, which is to have a good subject line in your email. You need to be consistent. Don't have some cryptic emails followed by some really straightforward stuff. What I'm talking about is the biggest mistake I ever made, ... And if you want to do that... Who's that even
from, right?
That's fine. There are people who do that with great success, but we usually in our emails are a lot more straightforward than that. We tell people who it's from, what it's about, and I feel personally that is the best strategy to use.
We always tell everyone in our Flip Your Life community when they're talking about subject lines or headlines for their thing, be clear, not clever. The person that signs up on your email list, okay, and they're actually there, they're no longer this bait and switch customer that you want to get their attention on Facebook ads. That is a person that has said, I liked what I got from you. I want to be on this email list. Now prove that I should stay on it. You need to tell them who you are. We put a little FL in front of all of our emails to make sure that people get used to seeing that and know that it's from Flip Lifestyle. And most of the time, I will even put at the end of our subject line, I'll even put Shane and Jocelyn, because I know that you came to our website if you're on our email list because you were coming for Flip Lifestyle content or you're coming for us personally as the brand. So we actually include those as keys in our subject line to get people used to seeing that. We always start most of our emails with "Hey y'all," so that way right after the subject line, the little excerpt that you get, you can see "Hey y'all." So those triggers are what tell people this is from Shane and Jocelyn. It's very clear. I know who it's from, and they're saying new podcast, 5 tips for better email open rates. Very clear. It's not clever. It can be clever and clear, I guess, but we try to make sure that they understand what's coming at first.
Yeah, there's a place for the clever subject lines. I'm not saying that they're always the wrong move, but we just like to normally be pretty direct with our communications. So you do need to be interesting, though. Don't make all of your emails super boring, because then nobody's going to open them.
Can't be just, hey, here's what we're doing, click here. It's got to be more descriptive than that. It's got to be, you have to give them a reason to open it, like inside 5 tips for better email open rates. That's going to make people open.
That's better than July newsletter.
Yeah, don't do that. That's terrible. Like, think about how you use your email inbox. What do you open? Do you open the July newsletters, or do you look at things and say, oh, that's exactly what's in that email, I want to read
Tips
more?
Tips for email marketing.
Exactly.
That would be a lot more effective for what we do. Just remember that your subject line is the first thing that people on your email list will see. So just make sure that it's something that people want to click on.
All right. Once you've got that great subject line and you've got them opening your email, the next thing you have to do in your messages, and especially in your emails that you send to people, is you want to focus on telling stories. You want to focus on personal case studies, things that support the results from your product or services that really get people engaged. I heard a great story the other day about one of the best emails a guy had ever written that made him the most money. And he said all he did was tell a story about him being in an airport and how it was a really stressful time because his passport, he didn't have a visa to get into the next country, and he thought he was going to get stuck. And he went through this great story about how, he finally barely at the last second made it on the plane, and he was so nervous and everything worked out okay. And then he just at the end said, "Oh, P.S. I'm having a sale." And it was like the best email that he had ever made money off of. But it was because he told an interesting story to people who cared about him and were on his email list. And those stories and those case studies, we do this sometimes with success stories like we do at the beginning of our podcast, but we'll send out an email message that might say, hey, Dean and Hannah were able to get their first subscribers on a guest blog post, but they had to set up a few things first. Here's how they did it. And then there's going to be a link for them to click through. But we told the story of Dean and Hannah first, and that gets people interested. That gets people engaged. People don't want facts. They don't want information. They want real world results, and they want personal stories about how their products or services work. And then they're going to get interested enough into clicking your links later. So make sure in all of your emails that you're telling stories. You're not just delivering information.
Most of the time, people are coming to your website because they relate to you in some way. So don't take all the personality out of your emails. Make sure that you're still making that come through in every kind of correspondence that you have with your audience, because that's why people keep coming to you. There's probably lots of people who do what you do online. There are lots of people who do what we do online, but there's a reason that you're here, and it's probably because you relate to us in some way.
So make sure that in your emails, you're telling stories. You're letting people into your life, and you're relating those stories back to the content you're delivering, back to your products. That is going to make sure the subject line is going to get them to open the email, but then those stories are what's going to keep them engaged and sticking with that email long enough to where you can give a call to action and make them go somewhere next.
You just listened to an excerpt from this week's Flip Lifestyle podcast. To listen to the full podcast, complete with the show notes, photos, and links mentioned in the show, click the link on the description below. For updates on future episodes, make sure you click subscribe.